Big Champions League midweek this week. Two really big results. Three really big results, actually, that I just want to dive into before we get into the weekend games. I think Arsenal beating Bayern Munich last night 3-1, and I was flicking back and forth between the other shocker result at Anfield, 4-1 at PSV. I was flicking back and forth between those two games, and, Arsenal looked really solid. I'm going to dive into it quickly in a second. And Chelsea on Tuesday night at home at Stamford Bridge against Barcelona were really impressive. And obviously we've got Arsenal and Chelsea coming up as really the blockbuster game, which is what we're going to focus on in this video coming up this weekend. With regards to Arsenal, last night, again, I was flicking back and forth between that and Anfield, the Liverpool game, but Arsenal just look like Arsenal every single game. It's the same 11 every week, bar the odd injury that he's obviously got at the moment, like Gabriel and stuff. He goes to Lewis Skelly at left back, fair enough, instead of Calafiore. But no matter who comes in or who he moves it around, the team looks exactly the same and the players know exactly what they're doing, and they're just in that mode. They're in that mode right now of just going out there. It's robotic, playing to the level that they're playing at, playing the game in front of them, feeling unbeatable, feeling like they are the best. And to be honest, I said last night in the group chat, I had a little double on Arsenal to win the Premier League and the Champions League, which apparently a tenner only returns 20 quid, which is quite poor because that is a very difficult thing to do. No one really does that. But you can see them running away with the league potentially. If no one's close to them, they're going to be able to rest some players coming into the new year as the Champions League gets into the knockout phases. And the squad depth is just huge. And they're just in such a good moment, Arsenal. They really are. And it feels like this is the season for them. Bayern Munich are a good side too. I was potentially waiting and seeing if they could maybe really muster up something special there at the Emirates, seeing as I see Arsenal every week and I know the level that they're at, and I thought Bayern Munich were really good. I thought the young lad up top, God, I can't even remember his name now. He scored the goal. That's terrible. But I thought he was brilliant. I thought for his size, he was able to get in amongst people, and he had little flicks and tricks, and he was really good to watch. And yeah, Bayern at a high level, and I liked the way that Kompany talked at the end of the game, basically being like, I'd like to play them again in the season and later on and give it another go. That's a potential final there between those two. That's two very solid teams there, and Arsenal come out on top, and they're just going to be so difficult to play against. And the job Kompany's done there, after, Burnley and everyone saying how he got the job, including myself, it seems a bit mad. But sometimes, I think Rooney's alluded to that as well, and some other guys have in some other podcasts for the retired players. Like, sometimes it is just easier just working with better players when you've been a high-level player yourself. And it's hard to get players lower down to understand your demands and stuff like that. That's no offense to them, but you hear a lot of guys say that. So sometimes you just fit with the bigger clubs, fit with the bigger players, and Vincent Kompany's doing a good job at that. And he's getting Bayern to be a little bit more fearful in the Champions League again this season. Because I said at the beginning of the season, they've lost that fear for a long time, a good few years for me, Bayern Munich. I've not been worried about them. Really impressive for Arsenal, really good. It's a home game, obviously, so they don't have to travel too far to go Sunday, where they're playing in London anyway. Chelsea, on the other hand, huge, sensational performance against Barcelona, who play that high line and everything like that, but he's clever. He picked Pedro Neto to play up top, Maresca to get him behind and use the pace. He's playing to the game, right? He's not just sticking to principles and being rigid, which we're about to get onto in the Liverpool game. And yeah, it was a really good performance in Chelsea, just tenacious. And if you catch them on one of those nights at Stamford Bridge, it's a difficult place to go. And I said in my video after the game, I don't quite think they're going to be consistent enough to win a league title yet. We'll find out if they're going to be in the mix come Sunday. But Champions League games, one-off games, knockout games, yeah, I think there'll be a worry. They've got a big squad and they can look to rotate, and they have a lot of players that can really hurt you, and wingers that want to get at you quickly 1v1, and Caicedo and Enzo in the middle with a great balance in there. Defense and goalkeeper are still a little bit dodgy, but I really thought they stepped up to the plate against Barcelona, and I know Barca go down to 10 men. Didn't exactly bombard Chelsea, and they weren't really tested, and that might be a downfall for Chelsea come the knockout phases. But we've seen teams do it that maybe don't have quite the full package domestically, be able to go far in knockout games. It's just a different mindset. It's a different game state. So really impressive from Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I want to get into the battle at the Bridge on Sunday. Chelsea against Arsenal. It's the last chance, I think, for a team to mount a title challenge against Arsenal. I think if Arsenal come out of this with a win, which I'll do my predictions at the end, I do think they will. If you look at the last 7 games, Chelsea haven't won any of them, or have maybe come out on top on one occasion, I think it is. couple of draws in there, but Arsenal have typically come out in the last 7 games against each other. So I expect them to go there and do that again, but Chelsea will come into it bouncing after that Barcelona performance, and it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm really looking forward to that, and you can remove all the emotion because it's not my team in a title race anymore from it, and just sit there and watch it as a fan and just really look at these players and look at what these teams are doing and just enjoy, hopefully, what will be quite a high-level game. It could go quite tactically boring. It probably will be, with these Super Sundays, but if I'm Chelsea at home at Stamford Bridge, I'd be doing the similar type of thing against Barcelona. I'd be getting at them, and granted, Arsenal aren't going to play high. They're going to be a lot more compact and harder to get through. And as always, as we know, play off the set pieces, where Arsenal get the first goal against Bayern Munich again last night. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. The midfield battle, Caicedo and Enzo against kind of Rice and Zubimendi in there is going to be fascinating. Cucurella up against Saka is going to be fascinating. On the other side too, I thought Reece James was really, really good dropping into centre mid and playing in there for Chelsea as well. So will he look to do the same thing there and add a little bit of steel into that midfield against the likes of Declan Rice and Zubimendi and Moreno, who drops in there too? There's a lot of interesting battles across it there, but Stamford Bridge has always been one of those stadiums I'd really like to go to, and it's always one of those stadiums I feel like I like to go to this time of year when it gets dark. When it's a dark game at night in the Champions League, or those half-4 games at this time when it's pitch black by the time it even kicks off. It just seems like one of those grounds. It's tight, it's compact, the net feels right next to the fans. The nets just feel tight. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that Liverpool-Chelsea battle that we had with Benitez and stuff in that era that's kind of got me into that nostalgia, so to speak. But I just like it. So really, really looking forward to that game. And yeah, I'll give my prediction on that at the end. Looking across the rest of the leagues, it's going to be quite a quick video because I don't really think there's too many other big games to talk about. I think all eyes, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to watch this, are going to be in London at West Ham at 2 o'clock. I mean, all eyes are going to be on London for the whole weekend because Arne Slot, if he goes there and he loses that game against West Ham, I think he loses his job. I'm not calling for that per se. Again, I struggle to call for it at the moment. If it continued on, if he lost to West Ham and it just kept going for another game or two, I'd probably start being like, yeah, okay, look, it's time for him to go. But I'm kind of half a foot in on that. And the main thing is, it's just, I called Russell Martin out a lot this season, watching Rangers and just being like, he's doing the same thing, he's doing the same thing, he's doing the same thing, it's not working, you're not winning games. I've got that classic intro to my weekend wrap-up. And Arne Slot's in that boat right now. He's doing the same thing. Maybe he is trying to change it, but it doesn't look like it. But he's doing the same thing. It's looking the same. And we're getting the same results. And I said to Greg and Ali this morning, I have one foot in that he's lost the dressing room a little bit, because I think they're looking around going you don't know how to fix this, lad. And he's kind of come out before the game last night in an interview as well and said he's confused too as to what's going on, and he's not too sure either as to how to fix it. And it's not what you want to hear from your manager in this moment in time. And last season, he was very good at talking to the players, and I think he's a very good manager at explaining the game to people and explaining what's going to happen in the game. And when it happens and it works, the players are like, holy shit, this guy's a genius. He's good. He knows what he's talking about. He's decent. But is he a motivator? I don't think he's ever quite understood how to use the crowd and enhance the Anfield crowd and use that at home. I think he's a lot more on the tactical side of things as a manager. And I think when you go through bad times in any walk of life, your deficiencies obviously show. And it's a chance to be able to improve on your weaknesses and things that you're not very good at. And I just don't see him. I don't see him and his coaching staff doing it. He looked a little defeated last night in his interview after the game. Not at all to the same level. I always say this when I use this as an example, but I remember I coached a 2006 boys orange team, right, which was the lowest level team that you could get at the club I was at, the Anza Force in America. And at the time, I'd worked with those level of teams for about 3 years, and I'd started to get myself up to kind of the middle and second team level every single week. The trainings I was doing with all my other teams were all doing so well, and they were progressing, and I just could not for the life of me get this team to get anything out of them. It was the same. We're just conceding the first goal all the time. Even when we did score the first goal, as soon as we conceded an equaliser, you could just feel it. Even I could feel it in myself. And it was just constantly losing week after week. And that's without the pressure of being a professional football manager in the Premier League at Liverpool with millions of eyes on you and everyone scrutinising your every move. I tried so many different things, and I remember ultimately saying to my boss when the season came up, and I remember saying, look, I can't carry on with this team anymore. I'm not the right person for it. My mentality's not there. I can't work out what to do with them. I just got that feeling with Slot last night that he was kind of at the I think I might be done here. And I think the players know it too. But look, it's football, and one result and one win can always change everything. It's a winnable game, but it's at West Ham. It's at that minging long pitch that I hate to go to. The stadium just feels minging. And it's against Nuno, who's going to do everything that Liverpool have been weak at. Is going to be tough to break down. He's going to be direct. They're going to look to play on the counter-attack. Liverpool have got so much space just all over the pitch. And if Arne Slot doesn't just at least make it compact and just say, look, lads, we're not in a position to be trying to chase games and win things to be in a title race, because we're not there. A draw is okay. Not conceding a goal, a 0-0 is probably all right for us here. Start right from the back, strip it all the way back, and just start building and growing a bit of confidence again. And you can say it's Liverpool and you've spent 400 million and all of those things and those kind of mainstream narrative ideas that you can chuck out, and that's all fine and well. But that's the reality of the fact, is they need to strip it right back to basics and start not conceding goals, and a couple of 0-0s wouldn't do Liverpool any harm. So it's a huge game in London for Liverpool and Arne Slot at the weekend, and if he doesn't win, it will be interesting to see what the owners do. Across Scotland, Hearts are away to Motherwell, Celtic play away to Hibs, Rangers are at home to Falkirk, so it's three very interesting games there. Hearts are first up on Sunday, away to Motherwell, and they'll need to get a win there. If Motherwell win that game, that'll be Motherwell 6 points behind Hearts. If Rangers also win, they'll be 6 points. And if Celtic get a win away at Hibs and Hearts don't, they lose to Motherwell, it'll be 1 point and Celtic will have a game in hand, and all of a sudden that momentum shifts. And I've seen a few Mcinnes' interviews about players getting injuries, and a lot of the Hearts fans on Twitter now, which I know is not a good place to get a gauge, are starting to say, like, why do we train on Astro, and this is why we're getting injuries and it's struggling, and all of a sudden it's starting to unravel a little bit. It is Hearts fans. It's a big one, and they're going to potentially need a favour. Well, they are going to need a favour either way, whether Hearts win or not, from their neighbours across Easter Road against Celtic on Sunday. In terms of predictions, I'm just going to do 3 this weekend. I'm going to go with the game at 5:30 in England, which is Everton-Newcastle. This one's for you, Jackie Fish, because Newcastle's away form is absolutely woeful, and I keep saying it, Eddie Howe struggles to perform every three days. And that's 3 games in a week now he's going to have. And I think Everton will beat Newcastle 1-0 at the Hill Dickinson Stadium on Saturday. Yeah, Jack Fish, apologies, mate, but I just don't think he can do it. And Everton are a tough outfit, and they'll have a big bounce on them coming from Monday with beating United with 10 men. So I think that's my first one, is Everton 1, Newcastle 0. I think in London with Chelsea and Arsenal, based off of what I've seen, and I just think Arsenal have that vibe and that aura. I hope Chelsea win, so we have a title race, because if they don't, Arsenal go 9 clear of them, they'll be 10 clear of City. I think even if City win, if I've got that right. And that just feels too much to catch this Arsenal team, and I don't think they'll drop off. And I think Arsenal will beat Chelsea 2-1 this weekend at Stamford Bridge. If we go to Easter Road, where a lot is going to depend on what the result is on Saturday at 3 o'clock at Fir Park, but having a look at Celtic and Hibs, the head-to-heads and everything, I just think Celtic are going to come on top again, and I think they're going to put the pressure, and I think it'll be 2-1 to Celtic there. So that's what I'm going with for the weekend predictions. Everton 1, Newcastle 0, Chelsea 1, Arsenal 2, and Hibs 1, Celtic 2, and the huge dynamic in both Scotland and England with those title races, Arsenal to run away with it, and Celtic to get themselves back in the Hearts kind of pressure just starts to crumble a little bit, because I do think it is. As always, let me know your thoughts, your predictions, and everything like that. Please comment. We're at 250 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 500 so I can start a YouTube membership for you guys and giving you exclusive videos and exclusive content on here for people that do want it. I do have a group page where I already do that. You get weekend wrap-ups, weekend analysis, tactical breakdowns on a Monday for when there's moments. It's £5 a month if you want to support that. So yeah, just like and subscribe as always. Hope everyone has a good weekend. And will Arne Slot survive? Let me know that as well. Dear God, I can't believe I'm going to have to tune into that at 2 o'clock before Chelsea and Arsenal. I'd love Dad, I'd love you to be here, Dad, because we'd have so many good conversations about management. My dad was really good at that stuff in life, just about management, and we would always talk about the manager and the characteristics, and he would always relate it to his work and quick fit, and we'd always laugh that he would always bring things back to that. But I'd always have a really good chat with him about the management side of things and the coaching side of things, and that's my favorite thing to talk about on these videos here. And God, I'd have loved to have come home and had a conversation with him about Liverpool at the moment and Arne Slot last night, and probably had a glass of wine or two and gone late into the night about it, which we used to do. So yeah, Dad, can you give us a little bit of energy, give us a little bit of hope on Sunday, mate? That would be appreciated up there, you and Jota. But yeah, hope everyone has a good one, and as always, until the next one, peace.